You know, most people on YouTube that are striving to grow a channel, they don't look at this one particular topic that I want to talk about today. And that is how to show up and talk to the camera in a way that's natural, authentic. How to express something that's important to you in a way that makes it easy for the audience to latch on and listen. And that's the one thing, it's like a superpower. When you improve that, the likelihood that you can grow increases dramatically. It reminds me of a story, and that is really connected to my growth as a YouTuber. Years ago, I saw that I was doing okay. I had a small group of YouTubers, or I should say viewers. They watched my videos, they commented, they said nice things, but I felt like I'm close and I just need to improve a few things. What are those? That's the hard part. And I came up with just 2 things. If I can just do 2 things a little bit better with every video, I'll be fine. Interestingly, one of those things never changed, and that is communicate clearly, effectively, talk in a way that makes it easier for viewers to follow you, and you'll be able to achieve those results. And once I started doing that, the growth began, and it really didn't take too long. And that's how I approach YouTube today. So I want to share really a bunch of different things that you can do to show up in a way that makes it easy for viewers to feel comfortable and at ease, and to listen to what you have to say, and to wait on bated breath with your next word. And once you do that, again, it's so much easier to grow a following and an audience on YouTube. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Brian. I talk about video, specifically YouTube. If that's your thing, consider subscribing, hit the like button. This particular video on the screen now, I remember one of the things I tried to do was to match my energy of the topic and theme of the particular video, which was I was excited about a new feature and I really wanted to express that. One of the things is that when I filmed the video, you know, I started out and I was excited and I communicated that. And I believe that really hooked viewers. Furthermore, the title and the thumbnail really grabbed attention and it worked. That video drove, I think, like 17 or 18,000 views, grew my channel, I gained hundreds of subscribers, and that's tip number 1, to really think about the mood that you're trying to convey. Maya Angelou, people won't remember what you said or what you did, but people will always remember how you made them feel. So for me, in this video, I just want to be calm, collected, excited a little bit. I want to change up my tonality. That's how I communicate. And I want to encourage you, and that's the energy I'm trying to create. So that's something that you can focus on and think about here on YouTube. Next is tonality, and I just mentioned that. The Wolf of Wall Street, he spoke about this quite a bit. Love him, hate him, you know, he broke the law, went to prison, but he's masterful at how he communicates. And one of the things he talks about is by talking fast and leveraging tonality and knowing when to speak quickly or slowly, you'll be able to keep viewers listening and watching longer. And that's something that I really focus on doing. Another thing he talks about is confidence. You hear this all the time, camera confidence. That ain't it. You know what's more powerful than confidence? Certainty. When you're certain about a thing and you communicate that, it makes it easier for people to believe and listen to what you have to say. Another thing that I like to do is to really use simple language. I don't want to make it complex or hard to understand. I don't want to flex how smart I am. Instead, I want to make the process of watching my video easy for someone. In fact, this is something I talk about all the time. As a YouTuber, it's my job to make the process of clicking, watching one of my videos easy and simple. So breaking down my language and taking a complex subject And doing it in a way that anybody can follow is really powerful. And another thing that I love to do is use my hands, hand gestures. Now, interestingly, you can really go overboard with this. And if you're too close to the camera, I'm thinking of my pal, Nick Nimmin. And when he started, he was pretty close to the camera and it was jarring, especially if you have a wide angle lens. It just makes it look weird and it's not the thing you want to do. But opposed to that is if you sit like this and you talk in a monotone way, then it's really not easy to follow because there's no high points or low points. Everything is the same and it's very safe and it's very rigid. But instead, if you just loosen up and you lean into your words, when I said loosen up, it makes it easy for people to continue watching because you're moving your body, you're communicating with your body and your hands, and you're leveraging that tonality. And these are all the things that over time have definitely improved for me. And I promise you, if you're mentally struggling with this, I'm not sure I can do it, man, I have been there. I've been a speaker for many years, and when I started, I was really nervous on stage. But I learned two things. One, most of the audience members never knew that. They did not know. My close friends did, and they encouraged me to get over it. They said, Brian, you are enough. You have information and knowledge that people need. The moment you remove your ego from that and you just say, hey, my job and my goal is to share what these people came to hear, the information they want to gain. If you clicked on this video, you're trying to learn how to communicate and how to talk to the camera in a better way because you understand the power of that. If I can just remove my ego and do my best to communicate clearly, perfect. And once I started thinking about that over time, I felt a lot more comfortable, which again puts my audience at ease and so on. Next up is to practice good posture. This is so very powerful because it's not just what you say, it's how you say it, how you use your voice, and it's your body language. If I'm just kind of slouched back like this, I'm not really engaging you. I'm not focused on you. If I lean in, and I'm really specific and I stare straight into the lens, right? Then I'm making eye contact with you, and that's powerful. And at the same time, if I kind of go like this, like I'm thinking about something because I am, well, that's okay too. It's not about being perfect. It's just showing up and focusing on what matters most. And again, trying to get past yourself. Posture is a great way to do that. I think at the same time, we don't want to be too amped up unless that's your style and that's your tribe. And when I started, I actually was. And I made some really fun kinetic videos and I was able to appeal to a younger audience. But today, I'm really aware of who my audience is. Over 40 YouTubers. People that are maybe a little apprehensive or they're getting started and they want to succeed. And I want to tap into how they're feeling. And frankly, it's not too hard because it's who I am. I'm going to be 59 in 6 or 7 weeks. So something to think about. Next up is to be compelling and hook viewers in the first 20 to 30 seconds. You want to be really clear. You want to make it easy for people to understand, and you want to compel and hook them. Example, I talked about you. At the beginning of this video, I said, I'm so excited for you because this is how I grew. This is how I got a silver play button, and I really focused on this topic, and now you are too. Do you see what I'm saying? So anybody can say be compelling, but when you focus on the viewer, when you understand what they're struggling with, for my thumbnails, I really thought about the fact that many people are fearful. And I added that to the words in my title, or I should say my thumbnail, that I'll test and I'll compare. Now, by the way, I released a video on the YouTube algorithm that talks about this feature that allowed me to grow my watch time by 40%. I'll link to that video as we get towards the end of this one. I would encourage you to watch it. And I want to go back a little bit to posture. When you get started, you might do better when you sit Or you might really come across better when you stand. Try both, see what resonates with you, and see what viewers say, if anything, in the comments. When I began, I felt more powerful standing up, but I was also like able to connect again with viewers in their 20s, 30s, 40s. I don't know how I pulled it off, but I got lucky. Today, I kind of have to sit because of the set. I have lower ceilings, so I have things set up so you really don't see the ceiling, and that means I sit. So those are some additional things to think about sitting or standing. Another thing you can do is pace your speech or how you talk. You don't have to talk through everything. A lot of people say, I just wish you would talk faster. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take cues from some of the best speakers in the world, and that's what I wanna focus on. A lot of people say, it's always for your audience, and I disagree. I think you have to be really happy and content with how you're showing up and who you are and what you want to do. And then when you do that, you know what happens? Your tribe will find you. That will resonate with those individuals, and you'll be more likely to achieve that outcome that you're after. Views, subscribers, and so on. Okay, let's talk about filler words. The fact of the matter is, a lot of the videos today, I don't script. I do have a few bullet points. It keeps me on point, and I simply talk through things, and that's it. Now, the amount of times I say or ah is not a lot, but sometimes there will be an awkward pause, and that's okay. It's not about perfection, but definitely I want to reduce that. It's a lot more powerful to listen. It's a lot more powerful to pause. It's fine to pause. If you're not sure what to say, instead of saying, let me see, pause. Take your time, gather your thoughts, and deliver that message. Furthermore, you can do one take, you can hit record, but you might say one section 2 or 3 times, and you might edit that out. A lot of people are like, you don't have to edit for the over 40 crowd. I'm going to disagree. I think we can take things in a way where we can measure what's going to really help us to impact our audience at the highest level. And what I don't want to do is overdo my editing. I don't want to sit in front of my editing station for 20 hours unless I'm really trying to nail a special video. And I'll do that now and then because I love the process of creating videos. But most of the time it's simple. I have bullet points, I talk, I share some ideas, and if I flub up, it's okay because I'm a human being and I can do the take again and I can delete that out, and it takes me maybe half an hour. It's not that hard. So think about, editing when it makes sense. Maybe you do want to edit out a mistake, and that's fine. And also take your time and be okay with being human and making mistakes. Sometimes we're going to have filler words, blunders, etc. Move forward, and over time you will dramatically improve. And another thing I did, which I really love, is storytelling. I kind of mentioned, when I began, I really created a system for myself to force myself to improve on what's most important. Number one is my delivery. So every time I make a video, as I look into the camera lens, I say to myself, Brian, be clear, be compelling, talk with power and confidence and certainty. And somehow I'm proud of how I communicate today. So it's okay to say and ah a little bit now and then. Nobody's perfect, but if you do it a bunch, cut it out. Know when it makes sense to edit. And the next one I just mentioned, bullet points. Super powerful, will keep you on track. And when you take the time to prepare, like your background. A lot of people say it doesn't matter. I'm gonna disagree. Now, fact of the matter, do you need this? Probably not. Do you need to spend some time and thought? I think so. If you look at most successful YouTubers, they have backgrounds that look nice. It can be a room in your home. It can be the basement. It can be you're filming in front of the window for natural light. But when you take the time to prepare with bullet points, your background, when you pay attention to lighting, that is reflective of what you're trying to accomplish and that you appreciate your viewers. and you want to make something nice for them to watch. And it's about your viewers. So tell your stories, but do it in a way that makes it easier. And the thing to think about is your stories matter, but only in the context that it's easy for the viewer to relate to your story. If you go off on something that's not related to what your channel is about and you go on, you will lose people and they will click off. If you tell a story that's based on cooking and you tie that into a how-to video, you just incorporated story and you were able to share your life experience in a way that makes it easy for the viewer to listen, which is good, and you're still focused on the viewer. Powerful. And I mentioned emotion. I think it's sometimes hard to feel like you can bring enough emotion to the camera, or maybe like me, you need to dial it down. When I started, I was so excited and kinetic. I had a lot more energy at 50 years old than I do today at 58. But you know what? I was aware and I looked at myself and I watched my videos after I published it. And then I did this one thing. And it's kind of how we started. What can I do with my next video that will improve the viewability for the viewer, the viewing experience for the viewer? Is my audio okay? How am I showing up? How am I communicating? And so on. And one of the things I really focused on was taking my energy down a bit because I was too high. And I thought it would be too hard for most people I was trying to reach, and it absolutely worked. That was really the two things, right? One, I looked at technical things I could improve. If my audio was subpar, then I said, you're gonna fix and improve the audio on your next video, but you're also gonna publish that video in 2 or 3 days, in a week. I had a deadline and I hit it. If I didn't improve the audio, then on my next video, well, then I'd go ahead and strive to improve the audio again. And sooner or later, the audio got better. And then as mentioned, every time I filmed, I tried to improve my delivery, how I talk to the camera, and it worked. And practice. Before I film a video, I start to talk. I start to use my mouth. I start to project my voice. I think about what I'm going to say and how I want to say it. I think about who exactly is my audience and how can I help them to connect with my video and give them the information they want. And by practicing before I'm even on camera, by the time I sit down to film, I'm a little bit more loosened up. If you're extremely nervous, know this. I came up with this phrase a while back, the box. And I kind of felt like when I got in front of the camera, I was in this box and it was pressure and it was challenging. And I had to do these things and make it happen. And that was a lot. But you know what happened? I discovered that 5 minutes in the box felt like an hour. But it was really just 5 minutes. And furthermore, it took a lot of energy. So remember I mentioned I needed to pull my energy down. So I just stayed in the box and I tried again, and I continued to practice until I nailed it. And most of the time that worked. If I was even more nervous, I might run around the house once or exercise or film a video after I exercise. And that really allowed me to move forward and just burn off that excess energy and so on. One other thing, some days it doesn't make sense for me to film. Some days I need to recoup. I have some health issues now and then. I get really exhausted. The other day, my heart rate was crazy. And the next day I simply sat. Yesterday, I just watched TV. I relaxed. And today I feel plenty good enough to film. I'll edit, I'll upload today, and I bet I'll do it in maybe 2 hours, start to finish. That's pretty incredible. 2 hours a week to publish one video a week, to change my life, to add value to other people, and you can do the same. It's not easy, but I gotta tell you, it's so very worth it. And I just love nothing more than seeing people move forward and make it happen. If you're still watching, wow, amazing. Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious who you are. What are you struggling with, if anything? Let me know. Maybe we can talk about it. And this next thing is super powerful, and that is to show enthusiasm. Nobody wants to watch anybody that's kind of ho-hum. We'll see. On YouTube, it's extremes, which it's not always healthy, but for me, I definitely want to be natural and authentic, but I also want to choose a version of myself that's just slightly amplified. Stake your claim and amplify your message. That's my brand message. And there's one more thing that you can do to dramatically boost the watch time to nearly every video you publish. And I cover that in this video on the screen right now. Click and watch that video and you'll learn how to increase your views, your watch time, and more. I'll see you there. You dig?